Hello, and this time we are into another video, and this time it's about the Professor Jason O'Day. He has overcome adversity, racism, autism, all to be Cambridge's Diversity Higher Professor of the Year. I'm joking, no. He was the first black professor at Cambridge, according to him. But we live in a world where we are giving people these pedestals to stand on, and they're like, oh yeah, we put this black guy up here because we want him there, if that makes any sense. And it's not because he has the achievements, it's because of the colour of his skin. And I also think he's gay. I may be wrong, my gaydar may be off, but I think he's also gay. So he's ticking all the boxes they want to put this guy in the position. And when you're a white person, you want to see they don't have many black people in these positions, not because they're dumb, because they're not being allowed in those positions. There is somewhat of a systematic racism going on in the world. But there's also a point where you have someone like Professor Jason O'Day who would lie his way into these positions. So there could be a black person who is totally qualified to do all the jobs that they should be doing, but he's taken their place through lying. Because he don't tick all the boxes, he just black. But when you're black and you're gay, whoa. That's all the boxes ticked. They love it. The white folks love it. So let's hear what they have to say here.
There's an almighty scandal brewing over
some really
this
woke
man,
white folks.
Cambridge's youngest and shiniest black professor, Jason Arday. Academus and pliers, the Milli Vanilli of academia. No wonder he's sweating, as he's been accused of wide-scale plagiarism in his academic career. But crazier than that are his incredible claims about his life story. He says he ran 600 miles in 6 days for charity and 30 marathons in 35 days.
Boy, 30 marathons in 35 days. Man, he must be tired.
Partly with a broken leg that had swelled to twice its size.
Don't ever did anyone question any of this.
He says he was non-verbal until shortly before his 12th birthday and only learned to read and write at the age of 18. And despite not being able to speak, he says he played football professionally and joined a professional snooker tour when he was 10.
So none of these old teachers actually sat down there and was like, that ain't true. Nobody actually followed up anything that he's been claiming.
He completed his PhD with a brain tumour and raised £5.5 million for more than 70 charities. I just love the idea of him being...
That's crazy. Let's watch this documentary about him. Short little 2-minute documentary.
I always felt it was a privilege to have a period of 11 years where maybe I couldn't speak and I couldn't converse in a way that everyone else could, because it allowed me to see things in a different way.
Professor Jason Arday was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder at the age of 3. He couldn't speak until he was 11 and read or write until he was 18. Throughout his early years, his parents continued to believe in him.
At 18, my mum had got to a point where there was only so much she could do, and she was brilliant, even though she had this belief that, you know, he'll do something okay, but she was just decided, I need someone else to believe in him as much as I believe in him.
Therapists predicted he would need full-time assistance throughout his life. How wrong they were.
You okay?
Full-time assistance throughout his life. He seemed like he's smarter than the people that are telling him that he needs help. But he managed to pull the wool over all of our eyes.
It was this man, college tutor Sandro Sandri, who helped teach Jason to read and write at 18.
I'm just so happy for him. You know, I'm speechless, to be honest. But I never doubt a moment they would achieve where he is.
Sandro would spend hours of his free time teaching Jason.
There's one thing you said to me which I never forgot, and it was when I was 22, and I said to you I was thinking about doing a PhD. And you said to me, like, you know, it would be the greatest story in the world if the kid who didn't know how to read and write was managed to get a PhD. Like, and you said, like, I think, you know,
I'm getting right about this whole conversation between these two. It's like they're both lying to each other.
we can take on the world, or you can take on the world and you can win. And I never forgot that.
And now Jason is days away from achieving another ambition.
Okay, nice to
So
see you.
good to see you.
Here's his new boss at Cambridge.
We do have a lot of work to
Mrs. Woke.
do, but I feel really optimistic. I think
Part of his research will look at new ways to make higher education more accessible for everyone.
What can we do to ensure that this isn't a market appointment in 5 years' time? How can this become the norm?
we've listened to the voices of our black scholars and our black students.
Oh my god. You can tell right now that this is a white apologist. You get these white people out there where, you know, they'll be the type of people that sit down there and apologize for slavery. Every time they see a black person, like, oh, we apologize for slavery. We're sorry. We're sorry. We're sorry for what we've done to your kind. We're sorry for slavery. Here's some free money. We're evil people. This is what she sounds like.
And some of it has not been easy to hear, to be honest, but we're able to face up to some of the structural issues that people face.
There will be those that think this is a tokenistic appointment. What are your thoughts on this?
Tokenistic appointment. He couldn't put it in clearer words. That's exactly what it is.
The board of electors on your interview day were absolutely unanimous. We are so lucky to have you. You are the best in the world in terms of the research that you do.
The best in the world in terms of the research that you do. So Pete didn't research his background, right? To know that he's doing a whole bunch of porcupines. Everything he's been saying is lies. Absolute lies. And if this guy isn't gay, something's wrong with me. Because this guy, he comes across as gay.
But for Jason, this is not
And I'm not homophobic.
It's a beginning.
The reaction has been amazing, and I'm truly grateful to everyone for their kind sentiment.
Oh my god. Let me see what else we got on this guy. This is from 3 years ago. This is NBC. He managed to sneak his way into NBC and with his lies as well. There's a lot of things where there's a lot of people out there who are literally telling lies and nobody calls them out. Nobody.
Story out of the UK. As a child, Jason Arday had the odds stacked against him. He was diagnosed with a developmental disorder and autism spectrum disorder at an early age. He could not speak until the age of 11, and he couldn't read or write until he was 18. But that did not stop him from following his dream of becoming a professor, and now the 37-year-old has achieved what was once seemingly impossible. Arday recently joined the faculty at the University of Cambridge, making him the youngest black professor on campus, and he joins us now. Jason Arday, a professor in sociology of education at Cambridge University's Faculty of Education. First off, Jason, congratulations. You are clearly just like an image of resilience, so we're so glad to have you on with us. Tell us first a bit about the challenges you faced and how you...
I can't listen to this bull. I can't listen. They just look at this guy being black. And he knows it. Let's go and check what else people are saying about him.
The star of Cambridge, one of Britain's two most famous universities, of course. He was the youngest black professor in its history. It's diversity poster boy, and what a story of triumph over adversity.
Wouldn't it be the most ridiculous story ever told if the boy who couldn't read and write at 18 gets a PhD before he's 30?
Ridiculous story. That's exactly what it is. It's a story. It's not so funny. It's a story which he has kind of like put into existence because he's literally made up his own backstory, and now it's kind of like people have made it exist into reality. So yeah, it is a story.
But if that sounded a little bit too good to be true, well, this sociology professor, now 41, has been accused of plagiarism, which he denies, accused of copying nearly verbatim in his doctoral thesis more than 100 passages just from one other academic's work. His defenders...
Look at that, man. Oh, those student teachers on, of course. Oh my god. This is verbatim. Copy and paste. This guy didn't even didn't even try to put it in his own words.
Immediately did, a Joe Hockey and claimed he was the victim of racism.
Verbatim copied and minor stylistic changes. Oh dear.
A baseless smear campaign against a distinguished black academic isn't
And we got another white apologist here. That's what she has to say.
just a personal attack. It's an attempt to shut down a black person who has a platform, and they keep doing this again.
He's a black guy with a platform. We need to stop people from trying to shut him down. They're racists out there. Racist.
Again and again.
Yeah. And Cambridge.
The problem is that nobody cares what color this guy is. This guy is a liar. He is a bona fide liar. That's the difference. He could have been purple. No one would care. The problem is he's lying through his teeth about every aspect of his life.
University even dismissed the plagiarism allegations, brush them aside. But then other claims Arday made on investigation turned out to be completely false, like running 600 miles in 6 days, or like appearing on a famous TV show, 7 Up.
I was part of a program actually, which it doesn't really exist anymore, but it was called 7 Up at the time. And 7 Up is basically when they follow you over the duration of your life. So they follow you at kind of 7, 14, 21. And I was pulled out of the project when I was 14.
The only problem about that is that I know 7 Up. It's been on TV for years, and most of the guys are old. They're old, and I think they're now looking to stop following the people, because it's every 7 years it will come up. Go for 7 Up. But I think we've seen some people's life stories unfold. People get divorced, new jobs, but he could never have been part of it because it came out before he was born.
Small problem. 7 Up was first filmed 21 years before Arday was even born. It also lied about fundraising he'd done, about foreign aid work he'd supposedly done, about a visiting professorship he'd never had, and on and on. Joining me from London is Talk TV host Samara Gill. Samara, great to see you, but what an amazing story. And the question is, how did he get away with it for so long?
Goodness me, Andrew, I never want to get on your bad side. You've got the receipts. I mean, genuinely, it's so interesting, isn't it, how Professor Arday literally lied his way to the top, it seems. Now, look, he claims what I am not is a liar, and he also says that he is obviously the target of a politically and racially motivated campaign, as you played out there. But, this shouldn't be a culture war story, and this is exactly what it's become. The question is whether Professor Arday, black, autistic, supporter of DEI, the question is whether he actually is supporting those academic standards and whether they apply to everyone. So if there are allegations of plagiarism, then they should investigate them. If they're unfounded, then clear his name. And most universities, they start treating the scrutiny as taboo because of someone's identity, and that actually undermines public confidence in academia, and that's where the issues start to lie. I mean, I think to myself of Claudine Gay. If anyone remembers, she was the Harvard president. She was a black woman. She had multiple allegations of plagiarism on multiple academic works. And she again pulled this race card saying that it was a witch hunt against her. Well, unfortunately, the plagiarism that was found to be true doesn't lie. And this is the problem here. Universities, they don't protect their reputation by avoiding difficult questions. They should protect it by answering them. And equal opportunities actually means equal scrutiny, Andrew. But some people haven't got the memo on that.
See, I'm gonna end this day. This black guy, he obviously was playing the race card to the extent where he knew he could slide his way into certain pockets, and he knew that most white people, they just wanted him in that position because of the color of his skin. They didn't not once question whether what he was saying or doing was real, or did he actually achieve what he said he did. Everybody just saw him on TV, and when he was on TV or what it is, once you get one publication to legitimize that, make you look more legit, like the BBC, they see you on the BBC. They see you on the BBC. The BBC does not really do any fact checking whatsoever. I mean, man, the BBC are terrible. Because they're so big, look what they've done with the Trump, the Panorama Trump story, where they actually made him look like he was saying things he wasn't. Now you got to see how woke the BBC is. So they would deliberately put him in that position to make him look like he was that person. He is that guy. And then once, because the BBC has a brand, there was one point where you could look at the BBC and you could take them seriously as journalists. You would really look up to them. But now, you know, there's so much corruption, scandals behind the BBC, you can't take them seriously whatsoever. From a journalistic standpoint, you can never look at them and say like, yes, this is the standard we need to be at. As I said before, maybe there was a time when they were top of the game, but you start to realize with the Martin Bashirs and everything else, a lot of it is just being lies and corruption, and this is another one of those lies and corruption where they gave him some sort of legitimate resource to stand out amongst people, and people actually believed what he was saying was true because he was on the BBC. He went from the BBC to NBC, and then he went on to other shows. Look, the BBC has I'm gonna see if I can find it. They've literally given this guy.
Tile Survive has to be one.
They're giving this guy multiple shows, and people think, well, if he's got all these shows and things like that, he must be real. Look, here we go.
Have made 5 documentaries about him as well. 5 documentary programme. He appeared as a panellist on the BBC's Question Time, and he was selected as a judge for the Daily Mirror's Pride of Britain Awards. Wow, he did really well to overcome systemic racism to achieve all that. And the BBC have made 5 documentaries about him as well. 5 documentaries. If he was a drag queen, like as well as being black and autistic, they'd probably have devoted a whole BBC channel to him, non-stop rolling 24 hours a day. Jason.
Now you see what I'm talking about. The BBC is giving him that legitimacy to the public and to other broadcasters, and people look up to the BBC. But the BBC standard of investigation is just not up there anymore, because if they let this guy out there and he's nothing but a bare-faced liar, and they haven't figured it out, then they haven't done their research. You can't just see someone of color and be like, yeah, we believe everything you say. Because when you think about it, everything he said he did, it was so much work, so outlandish. You think to yourself, this guy must be a black Superman, the black gay Superman with long hair. Because the marathons, the charity work, not talking, being autistic, not talking, it's so much that it had to be made up. And yeah, if something's too good to be true, it probably is. And I feel bad because, you know, there are very smart black people out there that probably have been overlooked because of someone like him who just happens to tick boxes. He happened to be black, he happened to be, well, I think he's gay, he's got the long hair and dreads. This is what they want. They want someone that looks like him in those positions. I don't really care or mind what colour he is, as long as he earned it and he done the hard work. But the problem is, he didn't do any of that. He plagiarized a book. He's got a book coming out. They're still going to publish it according to the publisher, even though now we figured out most of it is lies. They gave him all these TV shows. You know, and it could have been given to somebody who at least deserved it. Somebody that was black that at least actually put the work in, not just made up some fantastical stories in his head. Anyway, that's enough my ranting. Like, subscribe, and I'm out.